I went and did a search, and I
Mm-hmm.
claimed that way. And my search suggested to me, because I went to Company House in England. I went back to Company House earlier. Company House had, because each company in England has to register every year and declare how much money they earn and that kind of stuff. White Oak wasn't making any money. White Oak was two unemployed people. You ever tell you? And when they spoke about it, that Ron Adams and all them got up and cursed me. But I was only speaking about what was written in the official record from because I went and I searched myself. Nobody searched and give me. I went and searched Company House records. And I typed in White Oak, and there it was. They didn't make any money in those 2 years prior to the government hiring them. So somebody had pauper friends that they get them some work to and get them. And God knows that I don't know who their friends were. I don't know who put them in contact with the Prime Minister. But the joke her too is that she always getting joke. And it was supposed to be 21 million, but I ended up with 54. These people ain't keep all 54 for themselves here. Trust me. They had the staff, and they had a little office someplace. That's just the door the borders being there. And they came to Barbados, like snake oil salesmen, and juke this country, and people sit down and take it. And when they spoke about it in the Senate, people cursed me. Now everything is coming out. I am glad that people are now seeing that I was not lying and I was not misleading anybody. And
Yes,
I'm so
something. Bajans need to look into this White Oaks thing. I feel there is somebody was getting something out of that in Barbados. How could a company so obscure, why would intelligent people would take up the government's money, take up the people's money to pay a company that without experience, and so nobody knows them, with two employees, two. And according to what Caswell research, had nothing. I mean, they weren't making any money. It's not. They don't have the experience. They don't have the standing. They don't have anything. Something. And I'm putting on my accounting hat. Something is not right. Something is not right. We're either we put a lot people in office, 30 persons in office that are extremely inexperienced, or 30 crooks. It's one out of the two. And somebody here, Khadija says that this show is of no use as well, because she believes it's pure talk. And to some extent, I understand what she's saying. We have the march that is coming up, Khadija, on Saturday, but that's just the march. But I think that Barbados need to rise up and take back this country. Barbadians need to rise up and take back this country. I've had this thing on the screen, and some people seem like they zoomed in and they read it. And this tells you what the plan is for Bridgetown. I know Caswell want to say something. I just want to read it and then take it off the screen. This is Mia Motley, and she, as we can all see, beautiful smile. She looks really lovely in this picture, by the way, right? And she
good.
says, we have worked with local and external experts to outline a beautiful mix of hotels, restaurants, and promenades that will completely transform the area and the area of Bridgetown, with approximately 12 new hotels and 5 sites for significant expansions. These gentlemen, they are not lying to you. This is what it's here. This is what she said. Okay, the government, my government has been busy over the past 10 months. We have overhauled our tax system so that we now have the lowest of OECD compliant corporation taxes in the world, and low personal tax rates, because she's trying to encourage them to come in. Our fiscal incentives regime is also being overhauled, and we will switch to a system of rapid approvals with firm verification. Listen to this. This is what Kimar spoke of, right? About the town and country planning, that can't give Mr. Kinch a break. But listen, they can't give a local man a break. But listen to this. We have overhauled our 50-year-old Town and Country Planning Act, and replace it with a new Planning and Development Act with a presumption in favor of development, which emphasizes speed and predictability. We further make a commitment that any applications not initially approved are responded to with recommendations that would secure approval. So what happened to Mr. Kinch one? In rethinking planning, we have adjusted our previous height restrictions to both maximize economic return and da da da. You can go and check out this. This is the overall investment forum. Check it, it's somewhere online, and one of these guys can tell us where you can find it, and look at what they're planning to do with Bridgetown. And the people of Barbados need to have a say in that. That's what I'm saying. Over to you, Frank. Go ahead, Mr. Franklyn.
Marcia, what you must understand though is that town planning, the planning development people now know about town planning anymore. They move with alacrity to facilitate foreigners, non-nationals, select people. Mr. Kinch does not qualify as a non-national. And as a matter of fact, I'll tell you something about his investment. They only allowed him to purchase the land after he was able to show a plan for the property. So he could not, they would not allow him to purchase it unless he gave a plan of what he was going to do with the building. So they knew from the beginning what Mr. Kinch was doing with this land. The problem here now is that somebody got a bigger pocket than Mr. Kinch wanted. So they're going to squeeze him out. And that is what this is all about. Mind you, I do not have a brief from Mr. Kinch. I met him once in my life. He doesn't pay me. I'm not, nothing of that sort. So, and I do not care if he's white, blue, or pink. He is a Barbadian who is being unfaired by this Barbados government. And he needs Barbadian support. You know, mind you, I do not know him. I've only seen him once in my life.
Right. I must say I don't know him either. I don't know him. Never met him ever. But we're speaking here now
to. I don't know
to
him either. I don't
the
know
bigger.
him either. In case they say that we are being paid, I don't know the man. Okay.
Right.
Go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
We sat down. We saw. This thing started with Ross University, you know, when the government gave away lands to put housing for the students at Ross, and then when you check it out, a certain entrepreneur was benefiting big time off of every house and charging these students at Ross exorbitant rates. That's when the first report started. You remember that, and then it started to trickle on where the way. Sorry, go ahead.
The same fellas they had too, you remember? Go on.
Yeah. Then they came down to cut Miss Rob's land.
The same person with the vaccine too.
Yeah.
So they took up Miss Rob's land forcibly. Then they say, well, we're giving it over to a private developer. Right? They went down Bay Street. I forgot, remember this press conference? It was her, the Attorney General. That time he was calling himself Brandy and Panani. I don't know if y'all can remember that.
Yeah.
Carrie Simmons. Carrie Simmons. And the developer. They even had town halls in and around the space or whatever to look fancy. And we had the representative for corporate Barbados at the time, David Commission. So, like I said, going back to the same Planning and Development Act that was mentioned in this document, he blocked that Hyatt building because he was saying that there was not an environmental impact assessment done, and it was legally mandated, and the federal government was sidestepping its responsibility to the people to do an environmental impact assessment. As far as I know, right, an environmental impact assessment was done on the entire Bay Street. Right, so that was a slight of truth that he told there. Government came in. I have not heard anything about the court case that he had against the government. The court case just went completely under, and In that same plan and development act, the law was changed to say no that the minister may require an environmental impact assessment is no longer legally mandated. So they removed the stipulation
Mm,
to build the Hayat,
yes.
and Hayat still has not gone anywhere. And they actually know because I had another development near Perrot Cove too, and Perrot Cove has gone under. And if you go down there with the Hayat, that if you see the way it's fenced in, it's actually fenced in, including extra property now. So it's actually gone past what they
Mm-hmm.
took from Miss Ram, and it's actually two co-joining properties, and that fencing they have has gone way further than planned, and it's gone further out in the sea. So you really think Barbadians are going to get to use the sea when that hotel really goes up in the air? You really think that we're going to continue to traverse cross Browns Beach without it becoming an issue? I don't think so. So these are the things that we should be calling out the government on, because one, if you're serious, you will pay Miss Ram. You start there. Two, if you're serious, you will actually come and tell the truth as to where the Hyatt can go up. Because I think I recall the same investor said he owed $16 million of his money to start this project, but the project's still there. So my understanding is that they always want the government to fund all of these projects, but the government may not be able to build it because of the IMF stipulation or whatever, and the repealing of the same Fiscal Incentives Act that Martin mentioned in there. So the government can't spend any money on it. The private sector developer, he ain't spending his money on it. So that's why it can't go up, because the government ain't paying for him like what they usually do, build everything with the taxpayers' money, and then they come in and take it over for free.
Imar,
And it's
you
said right
said that
here,
the
the government. Go ahead, Caswell.
no, Bismarck, Imar, you were saying that the people wouldn't get this and people wouldn't get that. But you know what they will get? They will get the opportunity to walk up on the road and prance up and half naked and got little children corrupting. That's what they will get opportunity to do, because that's what we want to do with Barbados. That is all we want. We want a big fact. Every time government has something, they distract you with giving you a fact, a jump up. This is what happened from Tom Adams' time. They distract you with jump up and walk up, and people are so mindless that they get it and we jump, and after that what? Everybody else is taking over our property. Everybody's coming here and getting their jobs, and nobody anything talking about those things. Right now, Barbados is for sale, and not only for sale, but it is for sale to foreign people who come in here and then treat the locals badly. There's one company in Barbados now just sold when I said just within the last 2 years, sold outside of Barbados, and they've restructured their company to the extent where the black salesmen don't get to sell the fast moving products, only the white ones, and that kind of thing. And the government, but I'm not going to go too far into that because that is the case I have before the Labor Department. But I've had other cases now with other companies where people are getting rid of the local talent and bringing in people and getting them to teach them, and then find the local people or asking the local people to go. And so Barbados, even our local homegrown businesses finding themselves being sold to foreign nationals, being sold to regional people, and Barbadians are becoming third-class citizens, not even second-class citizens in this country, aided and abetted by the government of Barbados. And now they're going to take away our beach land. They're going to take and the thing is, it isn't a white or black thing. You're Barbadian, and they're going to take away property if it's going to benefit somebody else, one of their friends. Look here, the other day, we had a man who came in here and worked for Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. Didn't have a clue yet. And it was such an embarrassment to sneak about the place. But I remember when he came into the I said no, there's somebody's friend. He and I can't be no high flyer. You can't be coming to Barbados and work for 60,000 US a year. When junior managers in New York in the hotel industry were making 85,000. So he could not have been any big tourism guru. Not to come here and work unless he would love Barbados so much and he wanted to give off his time and talent, because that would have been chump change. Remember, the CEOs in these international hotels and stuff make millions.
Correct.
And we bring a man here to give 60,000 US and I think that we had the best. No, he was somebody's friend. He was somebody's friend.
Because, yeah.
Employed and they want to give a job. We do it all the time. Barbadians,
Right. Why we should be concerned, right? Why we should be really concerned is that once upon a time, both the Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour Party would have relied on the traditional financiers to get the government. But now, what I have found is that the current Barbados Labour Party has gone international now. So they don't require local funding anymore. They don't have to go over to any of the local chaps to get campaign finance. They could go now to Africa. They could go all over Europe, America, and attract big money investors who have
Russia.
more money. Yeah, even Russia. They have more money than any of the local so-called millionaires that live in Barbados. So when you have a government, and particularly a leader, that has access to more money collectively than anybody in it, this is where you're looking at tyranny. Because she don't need, or she does not depend on anybody, or have any strings to anybody locally. So when the Piper calls or starts to play the tune internationally, then we have, or these persons will have no choice no but to run over the local. So any more small man and big man in Barbados, everybody's small now compared to the resources these people have access to. That in the snap of a finger, so much millions could come to Barbados to help them to do anything that they want, buy out any process that they want to buy out, and that includes buying out an entire election.
Kimar,
So
you hit the nail on the head. Remember, I've been saying for a long time that I have not seen a free and fair election in my time. There is legislation on the books in Barbados that prevents that is speaks to election offenses. There's the Representation of the People Act. Under those two pieces of legislation, one, you cannot give up those T-shirts. That's one. That was passed by Tom Adams as an amendment to the act. They're doing it. Two, you cannot spend more than $10 per elector. So if you have a constituency with 6,000 people in it, the most you can spend in that constituency is $60,000. $60,000 is more than what the stage costs. All right? So then you wouldn't have any money to pay for election flyers and campaign, nothing so at all. You couldn't have a telephone in your office because you would have spent it all on the stages. That's against the law. You cannot have facts during the campaign to promote your candidates, because that's bribery. You can't give people food and money. That is bribery. Aren't you hearing everything that happened in the last election? All of those things are offenses in Barbados. If you spend more than what the law allows, you can be banned from running. You can lose your seat and be banned from running for 5 years. But the chief electoral officer has to review the returns and then approve. That's about it. There's nothing wrong. But how can you ask a person, especially in an acting capacity, to challenge a prime minister who can determine if and when you become appointed in that job, or if you can stay in the job? Barbados elections are a fraud. It's one of the biggest frauds anywhere in the world. The government All two political parties cheat to become elected in Barbados. This current one, had more means to cheating than anybody else that been known, but they all are corrupt.
But my
They are passing legislation, debating. I don't know if it's passed there yet, talking about integrity in public life. But you cheated to win the election. So where is the integrity in public life? Where is the integrity to get into office? Huh? I can probably go on my shelf there now and read the laws for you. And another case, we have similar laws to Dominica. Remember, and in Dominica, the court ruled that having these facts and giving up money and food around election time is an offense. We know this. We can stop? No. Because they have so conditioned our minds that at election time they're going to get handouts, and the handout is corruption. And what are we doing? We wait for the t-shirts. I know a guy who told me that he went on the bus about 3 or 4 times, and each time he get some money, and he walked up by the office to vote in, and then turn back because he already voted, and then come back out another time and get the bus again, and he was given money on the bus.
Wow.
Everything in this country is corrupt. Every process that you have is corrupt. And they now want to cheat the system by not investigating their own corruption. Because I remember the same Mayor Motley saying, oh, we declare assets. And no law required it, but we declare assets to show that we give it to the cabinet secretary. Remember all that talk? And they intended to pass a law to hold parliamentarians accountable. This Integrity and Public Life Act. But far from parliamentarians, they went for magistrates, they went for civil servants, they went all over the place. Mind you, the civil servants have more stringent legislation than this Integrity and Public Life Act. But they didn't mind. They've got the public servants now being subject to 2 pieces of legislation. The Public Service Act, and I can show you how really stringent the Public Service Act is. It is an offense to lie to a minister, or to Parliament, or to the public. If you are caught lying, you can be dismissed from your job. But politicians lie every day. But it is on the books that if a civil servant lies, he is subject. It is a major offense, and major offenses are punishable by dismissal. But no.
But Caswell, on election day, I was blocked from going in my own polling station from a police officer who have no authority to tell me that I can't enter my own polling station where I can vote. And looked me in the face and told me, you won't win in the seat over here, you can't win the seat over here. And all of that was on video. I could you believe some of these corrupt people were talking about disciplining me for being right, disciplining me for telling a corrupt police officer, move out of my way, you can't block me from going to the police station, only that return officer there could issue that statement. All of that was on video. I never got any recourse or any satisfaction from that. So I'm saying to you, they have their tentacles even in the civil service, where they would get people to go and do their nasty bidding for them. Because what I find is that they're using the civil service now as a reward or rewards for the lackeys that they could send out and do dirty work for them, to then turn around and reward them with so-called high positions. So I mean, it's just not at the level of Parliament, but they're actually reaching into the civil service and, as you say, putting their political pimps and hacks in positions to do whatever bidding they have to do for them, and then turning around and rewarding them with the people's money.
Yeah.
We had so many cases where they open up jobs for their friends, people who clearly can't do the work, mess it up, screw it up, and then they turn around now and get them bigger jobs or bigger contracts or to the taxpayers' money. Right? So
You had a director of
I
national insurance that was messing up national insurance, and the first thing this government did when he came into office to make a director of finance, that man was a disaster at
mhm.
national insurance. And I remember going to a meeting, seeing him there at a meeting in customs, and I said to him, mind you, I speak to him. I said, "How you doing? You good?" And we make a joke and stuff. When the meeting start, now he called me. I said, "What are you doing here? You got authority in here?" He said, "Prime Minister sent me." I said, "You are not the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance, nor the Controller of Customs. You're the only person holding the meeting. So the Prime Minister can't send you." And they said, "My officer here will not speak to you." And I ain't speaking to you. And so I said, "Well, since you're holding the meeting, I gone." So I took the lady that was representing left the meeting. BW stayed because all of them, how all of them tied up in each other. He had no authority
Right.
inside there. The legislation doesn't give him authority, but he said the Prime Minister sent me. He said that at the meeting. And Prime Minister saying he's the break the. What do you
Nah.
expect?
So that's where the it's almost like the bottleneck of the corruption. It happens right there. You see,
The
because
corruption started in
yeah.
74 when Arabara amended the Constitution. He was trying to save the public service from the lodges. But because the lodges were making all the major decisions in this country, these fraternities, you couldn't get a good
Yes.
job in unless you were in a lodge. So Alabama
Oh.
naively made amendments to the Constitution that would have given the minister power to make those, because the senior civil servants, most of them were in lodges, and these were the people who were responsible for recruitment. So what he did, he made himself responsible for recruiting temporary people in the public service, and when you're temporary, you get temporary, and you go through, and then eventually you get the job. So, but Byron never got the opportunity to use the monster that he created. And from the time, because he did it in 74, and the piece of legislation came into force, it was an amendment to the Constitution, came into force on the 1st of January 1975. By that time, he was catching his royal, trying to hold on to his government until the Barbados Party took it from him in September 76. So he never got the opportunity to abuse the powers that he gave himself. But every other person after him started to make sure that they put their people in jobs in the public service. And though you have a public service, you can't get in unless you get a letter. You can't get money. First of all, you can't get in on the statutory boards. Some statutory boards, personnel people tell you, get a letter from your minister. Yeah. And if you don't bring a letter from your minister, you can't get a job in Barbados, you can't get a job in some statutory boards.
That's true. That's very, very true. That is so true. Right now,
I am
so
anything
many
like
people
that.
come. Yeah, so many people come to me and say, um, I went for a job and I went and asked the minister for a job. I went and asked for a job and they say, you go and get a letter from the minister. And right now you cannot get a job nowhere unless your MP write a letter for you saying that you eligible for looking and you still ain't even guaranteed to get it.
So
That's
the
honestly very true.
corruption in the civil service come about nowhere at the top, where the prime minister is responsible for, not even responsible for, the prime minister should be consulted on who becomes a permanent secretary, deputy permanent secretary, head of department, or deputy head of the department. It says should be consulted. In Barbados, we interpret consulted to mean that the prime minister makes that decision. No, that is not what the law requires. And how we know this?
Yeah.
Because there's a similar provision in the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago. When they were going to appoint some person as a permanent secretary, the commission, as required by law, consulted with Patrick Manning. And Patrick Manning says, no, I want this man to be permanent secretary. The commission ignored him and appointed who they thought was the best man. Patrick Manning put the commission in court. And the court ruled That consultation is just that consultation. It doesn't give you the power. So we know that the Prime Minister doesn't have the power in Barbados that they use all the time to determine who will become permanent secretary and who become heads of the department. So you have a lot of people coming into the public service, ain't got a clue. And I've said before, and I will say again, a lot of people now come to in the public service. One, you have to have family ties, school ties, school connections, connections of the carnal kind, or political connections. These are the people making up the recruits in the public service now. And then you have a commission that used to call it was once called the Public Service Commission, but it is now called administrative or something that's commission, but the same people. The Prime Minister makes the recommendation for the appointment to that commission. That commission, the body that makes the recommendation to the Prime Minister. And if you stack it with former ministers, former yard fowls, who you think can get the jobs? Who you think can get discipline? Auburn Bob will get discipline, and Pedro Shepherd will get discipline because they were BLP candidates. How many people in the Barbados Labour Party that ran in elections that never got disciplined? Mind you, I argue that it was unconstitutional, but I'm saying to you that even though they didn't know it was unconstitutional, they left their people alone. So you bring people into the public service to bring charges against the Dems, but refusing to bring charges. And if I did not cry out and say, but look, you have other people on the platform, what are you going to do? And then they're going to bring the charge against one people to make it look good. You know? So this place is corrupt. Barbados is, or the other way around, Little Sicily or Sicily is big Barbados, but it's absolute corruption. We got the mafia here too.
But you remember
One last thing, Caswell, this speaking that crossed my mind. I didn't remember this. But the click.
You're breaking up.
Right. I was speaking about the lands in St. John. These lands that they were saying they were putting aside for medicinal marijuana, right? These plantation lands that Clico own. I have not heard anything about these Clico assets for quite some time. I read this, as far as I know, the land now is being stored for 45 years or so to plant medicinal marijuana. And as far as I know, no marijuana ain't growing on these fields. So my thing is,
you want to know why? No medicinal marijuana is growing anywhere in Barbados. First of all, it must be exported.
right?
And if you export it, the money have to go in the banking system. Cultivation and possession of marijuana is a federal crime in the United States. So if you get marijuana in Barbados and try to export it, or you you get the money for the marijuana and then put it in a bank that has US United States connections, or you send it to your dental clinic in New York, you will be subject to the American court system.
Okay.
So you cannot. I told them that in the Senate. I said, look, first of all, you have to be able to persuade the United States government to take marijuana off of their control systems. The United States federal government, in some United States, in some of the states, they have because you know they got state law and federal law. In some states, you have farmers who have marijuana growing, and they make it, but they can't get the money banked. They got the money in barrels because it can't go in the banking system. And they warned them about that in the Senate, and nobody paid me any money, and they went ahead and do it.
Right. But what you're saying has a deeper meaning. And the deeper meaning to that is the government purposely set up an industry knowing that it can run aground, because the lands that they invested to these investors, remember they invested large tracts of plantation lands belonging to the CLICO into these investors. And just a couple of years now, you can see that these persons apply to get this land for planning permission, to get this land subdivided for housing, and they got it at dirt cheap price.
Let me
Because
tell you something. I told them back then, Barbados is too small to have large tracts of land in marijuana. You look, how many when do you see campfires? When the can is right. When you have these marijuana fields, you can start having marijuana fires. And then you can got some fellas downwind getting high like hell. Happy, happy, happy. It isn't going to work in our context. We ain't got the hills like St. Vincent to plant marijuana, living nobody else ain't available to go in there. If I was, look, you know, though, where Hammond's factory is, right? All you got to do is go up by the main road. There's a big marijuana field. There's a field that's designated to also have all the security things in it and the fencing and all kind of stuff. Now, anytime at all that marijuana get right or ready to pick, somebody can lob a Molotov cocktail over there and go down there. Somebody better got that pavilion down there and breathe heavy. I think it can work. This was sky foolishness. Christy,
yeah.
have
But I
about
don't think,
patience.
I don't think it happens. So, but
Well,
I understand the concern, right?
because I can
But
tell you
I
what
mean,
happened, right? You have said um it can be for locals and they do, but the locals can't afford the license, and then they make some exclusions for Rastafarian people who use it as a sacrament, and they said they can plant it by the thing. If you plant marijuana by one of these fellas' temples, it can get raided and somebody get killed for it. But I said then in the Senate,
man, I
the,
don't know. I don't see it that way. I see it as let me backtrack a bit. Remember, the government attached two things in there that to mislead the people. First, they tell the people that they can come and decriminalize marijuana. That wasn't
Mhm.
exactly true. What they
That was
did was to
that was
change, right? They changed the law now and they're saying that they're issuing you a ticket. But I sat down and see the police still running down people for little Angela for you buys and little Angela sing and stuff like that. They are still carrying people to court for marijuana. So that was the first trick. The second trick is they said they would allow people to have to grow XYZ, particularly the Rastafari community. I spoke to Rasimba. I had Rasimba on my television show. That was clearly not the case because they are saying to the Rastas the only place they could use a so-called sacrament is at their church, their Rastafari church. No, if Christians go to church, the Muslims go to the mosque. I would think if it was a Rasta you go to church, you going to praise Jah. You are going to puff no marijuana. So that was the logic coming from Rasimba, which I agree. The rhetoric they used was to give the general public the impression that they will have this free access at all for all use of this thing and tell you the cultivation of it for export into people's hopes and dreams, knowing full well that that would never happen. I went to the marijuana symposium that I had in Barbados, and then there was full of Canadian investors. And my understanding is that most of these Canadian investors already had large tracts of land promised to them, the infrastructure, the this, the that, ready to come into Barbados to use the soil, because they were very complimentary of the soil, to set up their fields to export the marijuana back out. So it had nothing to do with giving locals anything. It had nothing to do with letting the fellas out on the blocks or any people having like regular smoke. It had nothing to do with that. So I am saying that the government purposely that is, and as you said, the license fees ain't for the average poor man, even for the average middle class man. So it was already set up, rigged for the large Canadian investors to come in and benefit, and the government playing them throwing some little sugary talking about that at least X amount of percentage will go to the locals. But the locals still can't afford the so-called licenses. And then on the other hand, you're still locking up people for little as a small weed. You're still not
Mhm.
wiping off the. You're still not doing any reformation in terms of people's lives that are destroyed before. You're still taking people pictures and charging them $750 and that's some magazine fines. But still, you're giving away lands. I mean, plantation lands to investors can come in to eat big and belly full, but while you still turn around and locking up your young people. No, I ain't got nothing to do with the ones that killing themselves in terms of suicide, and that has nothing to do with the ones that shooting themselves every day. I don't see white boys in Barbados shooting no white boys. I don't see the Indian boys in Barbados shooting no Indian boys. So explain to me why only a certain group of boys shooting no one another in Barbados. And people can't say to me, I say all, but a good few of these shootings in Barbados has something to do with drugs.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, Barbados, let me tell you something. This is with all that we've heard tonight, with all of this exposing that is happening tonight. This is an expose, I tell you. So much has been exposed on here. You need to share this live, and not just that. And I'm with Kim. What's her name? Khadija Yard. I'm with Khadija Yard. Listen, guys. If we just listen and we do nothing about it, then what's the point? I think that Barbadians need to come together and take back their country. Come together and decide that you're going to take back this country. And one of the ways that you can do, just one of the ways, you might have another way, right? But one of the ways that you can do it is on Saturday. As I said before, Mr. Franklin, we have the permit for Independence Square. We are still awaiting the permit from the police. But the date that we have here is on Saturday at 10 o'clock, Massey Car Park. All right. And if it is anything is different from this, you wait to hear it from one of us. Okay, we'll come back on this medium and you will hear from one of us. Okay, but this is one way that you can start. That's one way. Come with your Bajan flag. If you don't have your flag, you can purchase a flag from not for us. We're not getting any money from the flag directly. The gentleman is taking a percentage of the rental of the truck that we use for the music. And so I said to him, but you're giving us something, man. Bring your flags and sell your flags. So he, as a young businessman, can get something. Okay, so we're not, don't try to think that we're selling flags, because I know what we can get, right? And he's selling the flags at $10 or $5. You get a Bajan flag. Just come down, bring some water, bring some bottles of water, cold water. People like the water cold out there because it's hot, and to share with other people. We'll put if you bring your cooler, we will either put it all in one on the truck or something, but bring something to share with others. Okay? Because this, we can't hear this and not do anything about it. That's just so I believe what I believe. We have to take back. Why would they want to even sell the government headquarters? Is it that we're so cash strapped? Can't we put our heads together and come up with some other solutions? Why is it that we're everywhere in Bridgetown is going to become a tourist city? What is it that is that what the people want? Will we ever be able to recognize Bridgetown again? What is it? What is it that they want? And what do we want as Barbadians? When do we have a say in our own country? This is very, very serious, guys. And I know this, we're marching about the pension bills and the NIS bill, but it's all tied up. It's all wrapped up into one thing. And I heard somebody keep saying, about a vote of no confidence. I don't know how we can, because they're 30. So I don't know if the people who are the opposition, obviously, how can the people get a vote of no confidence to these in here? They need to come out.
Marcia, I want to re-emphasize something that you said, because you passed over it and didn't give it the kind of prominence I want it to have. You said, unless you hear from one of us, the march is on. There's a reason why we are saying that. Because last week, when we had the march, agents of some political party, I'm not calling any names because um, didn't want us to march, put out there that the march was off. We had to fight back and tell people, no, the march on. I came out of a meeting at the Ministry of Health, and I bought national insurance in the same building. A member national insurance staff but me said, but boy wanna stop, boy wanna call off the march. I said, we ain't calling, what are you talking about? She said, all in the office, everybody talking about it. So you have to be careful. They're going to use all kind of tricks to stop you from marching, up to and including lying to the public to get them to keep away from the march because they don't want to see the people on the street walking because they will say, you see the march failed, and they want to engineer a failure. I would want them to engineer a failure by doing the right thing. Then people have no reason to march, but they're not doing the right thing. Right? Back to Kimara and his marijuana.
Yeah.
They allocated large tracts of land, even a piece of land that was selling a lot of herbs and foodstuffs down there. So, but you see, Herman's factory down there now is just left for marijuana. But I see people selling yams this year, $7 and $8 a pound. Why those fields couldn't be there to produce yams and sweet potatoes and others and them kind of thing? No, we taking money out for marijuana, taking our lands, and then we have to import yams from St. Vincent. Everything we're importing, and we're buying the yams at $7 a pound in Barbados. I remember when it was digging them at $10 a rod. Now you're buying them at $7 and $8 a pound, which sometimes is only one small yam. You know what I mean? And the government ain't thinking about feeding us; they're thinking about getting us high.
Yeah, anything. We're closing, guys. We're going to close tonight. And somebody said, yes, Mr. Franklin, that's my point. I'm a firm believer in planting that yam because I'm so into that point that you made there about the planting the yam and all of that. I'm not saying that there's no benefit to the marijuana, the business of marijuana. I'm not against that at all, but I'm saying that we need to be planting more. We can even, okay, you're waiting on that. Why we can't plant some yams? Why we can't plant some sweet potato? Why we can't, I complain, my husband will talk all the time, land behind us, they're just sitting down, idle, just wasting, and yams so expensive.
Well,
Go ahead.
I want to make a point to that quickly. During COVID, the only sector to grow was agriculture, and the government put no resources behind agriculture whatsoever. And recently you had Kevin Greenwich coming up speaking about agriculture failing as an industry and it didn't grow, yada, 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 whatever. What they are not, cause that's just part of their agenda. What they are not telling the people is that the water networks of this country is being sold out too. And the government is taking millions and millions of dollars from the IADB and these large international banks or whatever to basically privatize water, privatize the streams in Barbados, privatize all of the waterways, so that Barbadians will essentially be having to buy water. So I don't believe that Barbados is essentially totally water scarce country where we have all of these streams and I think. You remember once upon a time we had so many standpoints across Barbados and the government started shutting down standpoints across the country? Right? So I know for a fact that right now the Barbados Water Authority is on the track of privatization, like as I mentioned on the last slide. And I even spoke to that in my book as well, Marcia. I don't know if you got to that chapter. And they asked Clive Maskell to head a committee speaking about the management of the Water Authority. The management of the Water Authority and the board resigned about 3 times since the government came into power, saying that they were forced to give the contracts. They were forced to give the contracts to the same people over and over and over again. So I'm saying that if it is,
I think he's dropping out.
Yeah,
He's dropping out.
Yeah.
He's dropping out. He will come back in. But we have literally 2 more minutes. Okay, he's back in. And let him make this point, and then
oh, then lock me out again.
yeah. Go ahead, continue. Make the point.
Right.
We have a minute.
Yes, I was saying, based on the trajectory that we're heading, we will end up with a privatized water authority. As I said, they put Clay Maskell to head up a committee with the water authority. The same Tony Moore is on that committee, and a couple other financial gurus are on that committee to tell off the Barbados Water Authority to break that monopoly and to allow many other water companies to come in and compete for selling Barbados water. So we need to be careful and we need to guard against that.
Listen, that is a whole nother show. I'm here making some notes, and that is another show, because I am telling you that is
That's
Lord
included in the book. That's included in the book as well. That is an entire chapter in the book.
I didn't get there yet. But let me just thank you so much, Mr. Franklyn. You were tired when you came on, but you educated your people tonight. You. Oh my God! I tell you, I learned so much. I don't know about other people, but I learned a lot. Kimar, you are way beyond your years, young man. You're way beyond your years, your knowledge and your wisdom. I when I'm reading the book, and again, I just help him. This is like a son, and I tell you, Mr. Franklyn, this is a good read. It's a good read for me, because I'm learning a lot from this book, right? And and I want to commend him for it. And I want to thank Mr. Franklyn again for taking the time out to talk to his people. I think this is wonderful, and I commend you and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Everybody, come on, guys! Don't let Mr. Franklyn be out there Saturday by himself. He's out there every evening, almost every evening, talking with you and sharing with you. Yeah, somebody said Kimar left them with goosebumps. It's true. It's true, man. I read the thing and I smiling. I read the book, I smiling and said, look at this young, bright, young son of the soil. Oh Lord, I'm proud of him so much. Right? So folks, come out on Saturday. Kamar, Andrea, Kerry, Natasha, Tyrone, Marietta. Listen, bring the whole but everybody. If Granny can't walk, let her sit down with an umbrella at Independence Square and wait on us. But listen, folks, everybody come out, auntie, uncle, everybody, bring them out and let's take back Barbados. Let's take back the soul of this country. Okay, let's take them back. Let's take back. No matter they say, oh, you should have had thousands out there, but let them know. What did I tell you last night? We say in Jamaica, we liquor, but we what? You remember, Mr. Franklyn? We liquor, but we what?
I can't remember.
Talawa.
With Talawa. All right. Bless you guys and see you. I guess see you tomorrow night. All righty. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. That's bye-bye.